Oh. 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 No. Dude, it's really take 25 fucking minutes to update this game.
crafting. You can change the stats and effects on almost anything you can imagine. Your only limits are the runes you know and your lore skill. Isn't that kind of weird? There are 11 magic skills for each school, but only lore matters for spellcrafting. Maybe I just don't get magic. Again, it's a lot of fun to play with. I can blow up villagers with canonically gay fireballs. It's insanely powerful, but based off only a single skill. When traveling around, you'll occasionally get a random encounter, which is kind of like Oregon Trail, complete with dysentery sometimes. These frequently have a lot more skill choices than the rest of the game, but these aren't much of consequence and are still pretty limited. I think this game needed one of two things. Either take notes from Age of Decadence and have way more skills related to talking, or go all in on the reputation idea. A brand new system where your powers come from your actions, much like the Archons in the lore. It's not a terrible system, just easy to break and feels way too simple for the material. As for the combat itself, it's pretty fun. Mechanically, I don't have too much to complain about. It's real time with pause, though it does have enough pause options to make it spiritually a turn-based game. You click to attack and you can cycle through that or throw out some abilities. By shift clicking, you can queue up attacks. However, no matter your build, you'll likely end up with a lot of abilities. I'm talking mid-2000s MMO amount of abilities. I'm not saying it desperately needed macros or anything, but they would have been welcome. The party settings are basic, but they take care of themselves fine. You get used to clicking on people's feet for the hitbox, no problem. My main two issues are outside of the fights themselves. For one, you'll mainly be fighting other humans. The different factions do have different styles of fighting, but it does get repetitive. They took a low fantasy approach here, so there are no undead or goblins or creatures or anything like that. I agree that being heavy-handed with that wouldn't be that fitting for the setting. So the game has only two exceptions. One is a race of werewolf-like feral beast people. You might not actually fight any depending on your playthrough because there are so few of them. The second are the Bane. You will be fighting lots and lots of Bane.
Send them at me in waves!
No, dear God, please no more. Bane are just colorful, glowing wisp creatures. They're like fighting slimes in a JRPG. You don't get that combat impact seeing them fight because they're just glowing dust bunnies. And you mainly fight them while dungeon crawling, which it seems like the game could have gone without this kind of thing. They just keep spawning out their little windows. Every dungeon boss fight is a big Bane that spawns more Bane. They seem out of place for the setting and also a waste. There were only two fantasy races, I guess, and this is one of them. It's generic, but I'd take Undead over this any day. They're both boring to fight, and there's a lot of them. Not a fan. The second is more of a missed opportunity. I would have liked a few one-sided encounters where you're basically committing war crimes. Most rebels you fight are well armed and ready to die. If you could attack civilians, that would probably make more of an impact. There could be interesting genre twists in there. And they do kind of have this already where you can kill a bunch of beastmen cubs. But speaking honestly, stomping on a furry village won't make my heart rate go above resting. I slaughtered them like animals. Sort of related, but I think there should have been more opportunities to use power. As in guards, seize him. Fairly early on you get a base for your party. There are a few of these spires around the world and they can be upgraded in different ways. You can make new items, research, train, trade, there's a lot to do. What I thought would happen is that people would come to you to mediate their problems. It's established as something you do as a fate binder. Not only that, but Pillars of Eternity had housing that had you do exactly that, complete with looking bored on a throne. There is a likely reason for this. Tyranny is blatantly unfinished. You might not have all the spires before the game is basically over. It's still a 20-hour game, which is pretty long, but short for the genre, I guess. A little longer with the DLC, which I'll talk about briefly soon, because it does feel weird not to elaborate in detail for a game like this, but I'll be talking about the story in broad strokes.
When due process fails us, we really do live in a world of terror.
As I said before, I like the nuance in the writing. The disfavored are brutal, but still very human. Some chorus members join to survive and are desperate to escape. There's never a heavy-handed right answer to how things should be. Kairos is fascinating, though you never meet the Overlord. Where the game seemed to be going with that was really interesting. Kairos is so intangible that no one really knows their gender. Higher-ups say she's a woman, but they're not consistent on that. Kairos is Kairos. I'm gonna give you a crash course on some basic political science ideas. And only in the negative connotation, I don't want to get into like societal cohesion or shit like that. The concept is called Faces of Power. I'll give you an example of each. We'll use Tunon and villagers. The villagers are working. Tunon comes along and says, hey, don't grow carrots. If you do, you'll be in legal trouble or you'll get hurt or killed. This is the power of the outcome. Do this or else is blatantly flexing. Everyone knows what's happening, so let's try to be more subtle. Villagers are working again. Along comes Tunon. This time he says, you can grow melons or potatoes. They now have a choice presented they could decide on. Some villagers might really hate melons, so they go all in on potatoes. This is the power of agenda. Tunon isn't even going to bring up carrots and instead give people two options. Anyone who wants carrots is now a fringe weirdo. Most people are thinking about the choices presented. Let's move on to the third face of power. Tunon has influence over media and public education. He won't bother going to the farm. Villagers learn a lot about other crops from their media. Tunon might even slip in some disinformation about carrots in there. Without direct intervention, no one is growing carrots. This is the power of ideology and subconscious, which is absurdly powerful. Your very inner desires are manipulated. Those are the big accepted three, but there is some debate on the fourth one. It's almost too big to tackle. Tunon and the villagers both agree that a carrot is a vegetable. You can buy carrots in markets and you eat them. This is the power of paradigm. Neither of them can directly control this, it controls them. It's a basic idea that everyone agrees with and has no real need to challenge because it's just how it is. Kairos has terrifying powers that they don't even show up for in person. You disobey them and suddenly the air is on fire. History is being rewritten. Kairos is becoming more and more of a recluse. This is the beginning of a 1984 level dystopia. Kairos is trying to ascend into being Big Brother, though this time there would be an actual person at the head of it. Kairos would be a paradigm by essentially being God. Nothing can be named after the Overlord. The Overlord made entire species disappear. Good luck fighting that. The implications of what's happening are being touched on, and it looks like the game is really going to dive deep into it. Then it turns into a Chosen One plotline in all but name. You get railroaded into challenging the Overlord. It makes sense for the Rebel or Anarchist playthroughs that you can do, but if you want to play a Loyalist, it's out of nowhere. A later patch made it so at the very last second you could scream "I love the Overlord" into a megaphone, even when all the dialogue up to that point goes completely against it. It is blatantly not done. It's their best attempt at bridging a clearly bigger story. Did the DLC at least save it? Well, not really. Tales from the Tiers adds a bunch of these new travel encounters, new items, a character respec option, and New Game Plus. It's the kind of thing a more generous publisher might have put out for free and is hugely overpriced at $7. But it does help the game. Bastard's Wound adds a large new area. There are some fun quests and interesting decisions to make, but the main quest has some convoluted bullshit in it. When I found out what I could do on replay, I was irritated. It also adds some good companion quests, which were strangely absent from the main game. Again, it seems like them trying to restore cut content. Which again is nice, but at $15 is hugely overpriced once again. Some of the new quests bugged out and it seemed like my game became more prone to crashing. And that was all the DLC for Tyranny. I've harped on its flaws a lot, but I like playing this game and replaying it. The short length makes that easy to do, and it might not be a bad choice for someone's first CRPG. There's a lot of stuff I think veterans will find interesting, but you'll probably be left wanting more like me. Pillars of Eternity had fun companions and a lot more content per dollar, but I couldn't tell you what the final villain wanted or what he was even named. Tyranny is short, but I found it incredibly memorable. Tyranny has an intriguing setting with good writing and characters, but is also buggy, has some weird direction, and is blatantly unfinished. It might be an Obsidian classic. Every edition, DLC or no, will be 75% off in the pinned link. For future viewers, do not get the DLC at full price. That's it for Tyranny. More CRPGs to come. Where do I even start? I'm no stranger to weird games, but this one is up there. This one is really up there. To put it simply, Pathologic is a Russian game released in 2005. It garnered a lot of awards in its own country and went mainly unnoticed in the West. There are good reasons for that. For one, the English translation was incomprehensible. Pathologic made I Divine Cybermancy look like a Marvel movie. But then in 2015 an HD version was announced. It looked promising. Some updated visuals, widescreen support, and best of all, an updated translation. It also restored content that was cut from the English version because the translation was so horrible it was unusable. Not that a lot of people got to that anyways. So that came out, and it still remains obscure. So let's get the game started to find out why. The game opens with a group of kids having a funeral for a doll. It's odd, but not as odd as the in-game play.
Our hands are no longer tied. Where are we?
Well, the muscular contraction is there. Means you're already inside of him. This must be one of the ventricles, right here.
What a silly place.
These are the three playable characters. Before the game's even started, they're arguing over whose method will be best for the job. The music is creepy, and the dialogue and delivery is very performative.
Only a miracle can set us free without us having to destroy something. And I can do miracles. Just let me.
Then they do a stage freeze and it's all over. Watching this was optional. You could go to the door to choose a character at any time. So, you have the Bachelor, Haruspex, and Changeling. You can only play the Changeling after you beat the game with one of the other characters, so I recommend the Bachelor. Time for video games. Anyways, you're a Bachelor of Medicine. You've come to a strange town to investigate a claim that a man is centuries old. From the very first second I started playing, it seemed uncomfortable and cramped. There's something strange about this architecture. Even something as mundane as the stairwell seemed really creepy. It's almost like an Escher stairway, like something's off or not real about it. The very first conversation you have with someone feels the same way. The writing is flowery and your first conversation is philosophical. It's almost like you're in a dream. It's reminding me of... oh no. You get a map marker to the old man, then your tutorial. From them. Your first look at the town sure is ominous. It's like you're about to be practicing medicine in Silent Hill. Or Morrowind. These guys also talk to you like you're in a play, and explain the game's mechanics in the same terms. There's a day-night cycle. You can miss most of the events. You want to visit important people, but not the common folk because they're extras. Okay, wait, no, don't dismiss them entirely. Okay, there's some more philosophy discussion, but wait a minute. This is going to be a survival game. So I need to figure out the town, meet people, and survive it. No problem. I'm dead. So do I get a game over, or... Ah, right. I didn't save. Let's try that again. It turns out you're never gonna meet your man. He was mysteriously murdered. There are strange things happening in a town that's weird enough already. The locals are eerie. They're usually polite, but very reserved with you. Which is understandable since you're from out of town. So now you're playing Magnum PI in a culture that's utterly alien to you. To make matters worse, rumors are swirling of a sand plague outbreak. You have no idea what the sand plague is, but the locals are terrified of it. The investigation points to a serial killer, but that's when things get complicated. People have ideas on who or what the serial killer could be. Some kind of necromancer? A local woman with a criminal past? What the hell is a step demon? In fact, what is this city? What year is this supposed to be? The style of dress is all over the place and everyone sounds so strange.
I had a feeling you would come.
The mystery keeps building. We'll come back to this. For now I'm going to talk about the presentation. Despite being the HD edition, on a technical level the visuals are subpar. The original game was also considered very ugly for 2005. The regular NPCs have no variation. Every mugger uses the exact same model. They're always carrying a knife. So fighting a group of them is silly, like they're all coming out of a clown car. Just the same bowl-cut bandit over and over again. All of the minor NPCs have a type, and they too have no variation. Huh, this is every drunk in the game. This is every store owner in the game. This guy? You guessed it. It would be nice for there to be minor variation, even change their clothes, unless... The fidelity of character models and just about everything else is okay-ish for 2005. That's the best I can say for all the technical stuff. It is dated, but not horribly so. In contrast, the art direction is interesting. Some parts of the town look roughly like post-revolution Russia. But then other parts look like they're from a Mongolian steppe culture. Then you have buildings that combine the styles. You also have buildings that don't fit in at all. For example, the giant superstructures throughout the town. They're just looming over everything. I can understand a town having a big train yard. What's not normal is your town having a giant polyhedron tower on the outskirts. The one that's breaking all physical laws and filled with children. The walls are all made of paper with writing on it. The entire city has a really peculiar taste in artwork. The whole town seems like it's in another dimension. How about these big buildings with no roof and no walls? How does something like this even happen? Wait a minute. Damn you, Cromwell, were you here too? Not to mention all the strange non-human creatures in the town. They have a unique look. The whole art style does. The game builds so much mystery by just looking around, because they include areas you would expect this place to have. But the strange buildings seem just as important to the city, but you don't know what they're for yet. It doesn't look weird to look weird. There must be a purpose. At the same time, the game's trying to get something else out of you. So let's talk about that second one. Back in the Call of Cthulhu video, I mentioned that some of these older games have an uncanny valley effect. It's when the visuals are dated, but just good looking enough to trick your brain a bit. Pathologic fits neatly into this category. But there's something else off-putting besides the architecture. The colors. The game is drab. When you're exploring, it's very easy for parts of the city to blend together. It doesn't matter the time of day or the weather. Everything starts looking brown or yellow or green or gray. It's ugly and miserable, like a never-ending funeral. Then you combine that with the low foggy draw distance and it's like you're living in a haze. Even on a good day, this place seems awful. Then things get bad. Really bad. And the only thing I can say is, you know what, this seems appropriate. You have an alien culture, everything looks dirty and gross. Of course the sky looks like Beijing traffic. The soundscape also seems to be off. You hear muffled sounds like dogs barking and kids crying, but it seems to be right by your ears somehow. A lot of the sound effects, especially the weapon sounds, are very subpar. However, the music is a completely different story. Some of it sounds like it's sneaking up on you. I've never heard anything quite like it. It has horns, tribal chants, opera notes, cow sounds. It's like Genghis Khan made the Half-Life 2 soundtrack. A lot of the tracks are very atmospheric and kind of catchy. I wouldn't listen to it in my car, but I enjoy it for what it is. It's the biggest, strongest nail in keeping the game's atmosphere together. It has a very special kind of atmosphere. The kind of atmosphere where you break into a dirty warehouse and fight 8 guys who all look like this. And then the music starts playing like a Mongolian trip-hop remix of that song from The Fifth Element. This game is weird. This game is really weird. Oh right, I should talk about the game part. Let's get back to our Bachelor of Medicine.
You've changed. Or am I imagining things?
This game is frequently described as a survival horror game. The emphasis is on survival. There's a lot to manage and do, and the clock is always ticking. There are several stats that you need to manage. Your reputation, your health, your immunity to the plague, your hunger, your exhaustion, and your infection. Health is self-explanatory. Bad man hits you equals no good. Your reputation determines how people treat you. If it's bad, store owners won't trade with you. If it's really bad, city guards, even the townsfolk will try to attack you. Kill them and you lose even more. For example, you could break into someone's house, murder all the residents and their children, and rob them blind, but then people are gonna gossip. That'll just mean more trouble. But you are trying to survive, so things might get desperate. You can increase your reputation by treating or helping the sick. But if your immunity's not high, then the infected could infect you. So when one's running at you, your instinct might be to kill them before they can infect you, but people don't like that either. You're supposed to help the sick, not shish kebab them. People do like it when you murder all the muggers. So you shank them in the dead of night for more stuff and more reputation. But this comes at a risk to your health. There are very few traditional healing items, so it could be better to try and avoid combat. Let the guards handle it. He's gonna serve and protect the hell out of that guy. Uh-oh. To get healing bandages and other specialized items, you have to understand the hobo economy. It's easy. What you do is dig through the garbage cans. Some have treasures like a broken razor blade or an empty bottle, others have nothing. So whenever you're walking around town, which you'll be doing a lot, check all the trash. Really, you should be dumpster diving at all times. Then you want to fill your bottles with water. There's a lot of places you can do that. Then you go and talk to the drunks who, for some reason, have all the healing bandages. So now you can trade water bottles for bandages and tourniquets. That's just how it is, or you can get them the other way. Now you could be thinking, if melee is so risky, then why not just use guns all the time? Well, I would, but guns are very rare. They also wear down and become less accurate over time, so they need repairs. Ammunition is also rare and expensive. You could go to the Kmart in the bad part of town, but there is a more obvious place to find bullets. Check the school children. They have plenty of ammunition. They sometimes trade for dumpster items, but all kids are different. You can scam little girls for antibiotics. Maybe you randomly found a piece of jewelry while walking around. Girls give good drugs and ammo for those. This edgy kid wants your knives. This awkward kid wants your nuts. The art of exploiting children is truly powerful. You always want the hobo economy in mind. Maybe you can find something to trade for little Cindy's Novocaine. You get food to manage your hunger. Of course, depending on the situation the town is in, the prices for food can change dramatically from day to day. Are you getting a great deal, or will prices drop 5 times tomorrow? Who knows? For dealing with the plague, there are a lot of immunity drugs you can take, but these usually damage your health and you can overdose. You sleep for exhaustion, but now your hunger is going back up. Some food items might affect your immunity or hunger negatively. Then there's dealing with the plague. If you don't know how to cure it, you can only manage it. For the love of God, do not get infected. It will... Oh God, it's here. You can find gear to increase your protection, find better gear, get your gear broken, get it fixed. It's almost an immersive sim. The problem is the execution. The idea of solving a mystery while maintaining all these stats is great. That's what the last game was about too. The thing is, the gameplay itself just isn't fun. The combat is very floaty and awkward. It's hard to tell the reach of your weapon. Guns quickly become inaccurate, making the hitboxes seem incorrect. It makes you want to wait until the enemy is right in front of you before firing so you don't waste any of your bullets. The worst by far are the rats because they can give you the plague. Melee with them drove me crazy, and it took me a long time before I could reliably kill them that way. You can also sneak around, and I honestly have no idea how that system works. I can risk shots here because they'll never see me. The mechanics are there, but awkward, like it's an early build of it. Sometimes the AI becomes silly, sometimes it just shuts down. When it is working, they mainly charge you in swing. Even then, it wasn't uncommon for the pathfinding there to go nuts too. It's just not enjoyable. A weapon that might bring variety, like a shotgun, just feels like every other weapon. It doesn't feel like a big step up. You are risking a lot in combat, but it's just so poorly done that you don't feel its weight as much. Plus, you can avoid it by just running into a nearby building. Still, this isn't the worst part of the game. Not even close to it. Here's a good 90% of pathologic. Yep, still going. You are going to do so much walking. You might have thought that example was long. I don't think it was long enough. You can't run and drain exhaustion, you just walk. Going through garbage isn't something you do on the side, it's something to do to give you sanity. You take a trash break, back to walking. This is why the game has remained so obscure. All this walking. You have 12 days to survive, and each endgame day is roughly 2 hours. The games I've seen people complain about being walking simulators are usually very short. In my playthrough of The Bachelor, I did a lot of side quests, but not all of them. Do you know how long it took me to beat it? If you can't get into the story of a game, don't play Pathologic. There's nothing...
Jesus Christ.
float in front of the other.
Moving ahead.
You'll be in a big explosion soon enough.
You have everything you want for supper. All the treats you don't
No, we pay taxes for you to protect us, not these intruders.
I'm paid to take down troublemakers, so don't make trouble.
Let's see. Looking ahead. Cursed to put my hands on everything. How much farther can I go?
Before you lies the unconscious body of a mind flayer, glistening and raw.
A newborn. Unattended. How fortunate. Oh, but it is. This one has only just transformed. It is weak, vulnerable. Its potential ripe for harvesting. Go on. Kill it. Absorb its power.
Come no closer, you. You. What are you? What am I sensing? You are like me. Like I was. A vessel yet to transform. Help me. I am so hungry. We are new to our collective. My birth was difficult. The vessel fought hard. It left me weak. We need to feed. We need a brain fresh and frantic to restore our strength. I shall be here, waiting for your return.
Curtail your sympathy. We wish to destroy the Elder Brain, not nourish its thoughts.
That might come in handy, my friend.
Can't talk just now, sorry.
If we get caught sneaking in. A few days in a jail cell. At least we'd have a bed.
Worst that can happen is one of those feel sorry for throwing us into the dirt.
They take your gold, but they leave your dead. And for what? You didn't even fight back.
I tried. We'll find a way into the city. You have
Are you all right?
I'm fine. You're the one who took a beating.
You won't help us. At least let the children in. They've had nothing but scraps for days.
May Ilmater guide your footfalls, stranger.
Please, leave me be. I've got an awful lot to get done.
Speak with the dead. I know. We found a murder weapon.
I should speak up.
Look, I need to finish up here. Lots of soup to clean up. Blood, too. Looks like a room key, maybe? Nothing in here, that's for sure.
Okay.
If you're looking for a handout, try elsewhere. We're focusing on our own now.
Times may be hard, but the god on the rack asks that we endure. For him.
Let's fucking get you open.
How goes the search? That's it! Proof that Valeria missed something. They'll have to listen to you now. If you can convince them of Brilgor's innocence, then perhaps Ilmater could shed one less tear this day. How goes the search? Valeria never found the murder weapon. That would be definitive proof that they missed something. Logan's in the room behind us with Sister Rose. Brilgor's buried out back, through the kitchen and the dormitories.
Got it.
The killing happened in the kitchen cellar. Could be a good place to start.
So we're not gonna update or just fucking. The market, dude. It's a big fucking city.
More against Father Lorgan.
If you won't help us, at least let the children in.
So exactly fucking.
Our readers will be outraged.
Hear me out.
Staying in a brothel.
Listen, it's got private rooms.
What's that?
And all-round pleasant folks, from what I've heard.
And if a patron confuses me for a member of staff,
I'd probably break his nose.
I found so many victims for Cazador here. They're the kind of people no one would ever miss.
We have time.
Come to Baldur's Gate, he said. Adventurers get welcomed as heroes, he said. Poxy Drim. and his bleeding notions.
There's plenty of spare.
Just think, soon we'll feel the sun on our skin. After all this time. Not long before we leave scouring places like this behind, part of me will miss it.
I will not. It is our chance to start over, and I will gladly do so.
Sir, good, sir. Give me 3 days and... Oh, apologies. Thought you were someone else. Greetings, so forth, so on. How dare you? Accusing an upstanding citizen like me of being a dwarf? I'm a halfling, you oaf!
Haven't we lingered long enough? We should return for the ceremony.
We have time. The runaway is still missing after all. Nothing happens until he's found. Just think.
Not going inside. It has plenty of spare beds.
Also, great. Pleasure house. We can bunk with a ton of the people.
Not long before we leave scouring places like this behind, part of me will
Wish I had a bag of holding.
I will not. It is our chance to start over, and I will gladly do so.
Now, what do you reckon, lass? You trust these steel watcher thingamajigs? Aye, I'll second that. It's all right, well, we can get work repairing them, but what happens when they build something else to do that? It's no good, I tell you.
Guess at them.
Shapeshift. These tunnels were full of shapeshifters. Father Logan's name is written here too. anything of use? Blood near the bed.
You notice some blood has pooled on the wooden floor. You notice the blood's source. A body hidden under the bed. The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Murdered by my son.
Charming. She mustn't have nursed him enough as a child. Or too much.
Baldur.
The corpse remains silent. It does not know.
Dwarf like me. Dresses in red. Found his secret. My sweet boy. Why?
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
I know this key. It's identical to the one held by that corpse in the tunnels.
Mate, it's your birthday. You deserve to cut loose.
The librarian does this thing with her whip on all fours and...
You are my love. I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you.
Look at you!
The missus and I have been dreaming about the city. No more sleeping rough. Didn't expect to find it locked down tighter than a watcher's fist.
It's a state of mind.
Right. Hear me
Doesn't
out.
make any sense.
Caresses caress.
Here we're when you've met the finest fish caught this morning. What'll it be?
Blackets will be done.
Come back soon. Fresh catch every day, guaranteed.
Caresses caress isn't just about wetting your whistle. It's done.
You look like someone whose soul needs feeding. Care to buy some art?
My faith will guide me.
What is this one? This is Shadow Arts, not proficient in shield.
Do come again.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
Pleasure house? Den of decadent delight?
Like what?
Over, then through. From decadent drow to whip-cracking librarians, we cater to all tastes. See Mamselle Amira for a full list of company.
Has been tried and tested by yours truly.
What does it feel like?
In a word, sir.
Such coursing through my brain.
Look at me. You need only think of me.
Something's on my mind.
Another case closed, another bottle open. Huzzah to Valeria! Hang on a tick. I recognize that face. You were talking to Yanis after I left the temple. I'll bet she's put you up to something. Why must you busybodies insist on interrupting a perfectly good night? I know that look. You remind me of Devella. Fine. If you doubt my conclusions, out with it. What have you found? My assistant. She's posted in the lower city investigating Duke Stelmane's murder. Now, back to it. What have you found? A Baal plot? You as well? Devella's been harping on about Baal for months. Fancies herself something of an expert. I assumed it was just a bunch of conspiracy codswallop and fear-mongering. But she's been unusually insistent about this one, even for her. Fine. I'll bite. What's your theory? No need to wave documents at me. I'm already drowning in paperwork as it is. Constable Devella is going to be a real pain in the trunk about this. Since you seem to be on an obnoxiously similar wavelength, why don't you seek her out? She'll be at the Elf Song Tavern. Show her the list, and I'll stay and inform the Fist here. Oh, and you'll need this pass. It'll give you access to the lower city. Well, what are you waiting for? You've a bloody conspiracy to solve. Move!
Don't fret. You don't have to think about it.
It depends on the person. I'd recommend judo.
Seems like a lot.
To pleasure your fine maiden.
How about we settle on the Gondian and
Really? For a suit. Dinner with my parents.
Let them see you taking charge of your pleasures.
Fruit? Vegetables? What can I do you for?
Why don't we just say fruit and vegetables?
Ignorance breeds madness.
Pretty fucking good, dude.
If you're hungry, you know where to find me.
I wonder what the next move is.
The Absolutes army slay siege. They won't care about stupid lists.
You told me the armor was involved.
We can get England's forces.
How long do the effects
These
last?
things have stayed interesting.
It depends on the person.
Shh. Ollie.
Infiltrator! I've got 'em all!
Look, Sharessa's caress isn't just about wetting your whistle. There's dancing, dinner, drinks.
Exactly. Pleasure isn't just physical, it's a state.
You have the key to my heart in that.
I put it on especially for you.
Don't take it off later. I want to give it a good rumple.
Don't you two have rocks for brains? What were you thinking? I am not going inside. Hear me out.
Brothel? There's a house?
I need a quick word.
9 hells! You followed me all the way here? What could you possibly want with me now? What? How? 9 hells? Whatever you think you know, I'm sure some gold would help you to forget. Please don't. What do you want from me? It's not my fault. I was forced to do this. Framed even. They would have killed me if I refused to rig the toys. And they're definitely going to kill me now. I can't tell you. I won't tell you. All right. Just don't hurt me. The teddy bears were an experiment. My greatest invention. A clever little device in their chest allows them to speak. But there's more. Smoke powder inside the device. I collect packages from Verloga's fireworks in the lower city and stuff the bears with it. Not because I want to, because I have to.
That's not what I asked.
Otherwise, they'll kill me. I don't know who's in charge, but it starts at the fireworks shop. That's where the packages come from. Go there, tell them Uncle Verloga sent you, and they'll show you the smoke powder. Lots of it. There. I told you what you wanted to know. Now, will you let me go?
His plea comes with an offering, a pass granting you access to the lower city.
Here, take it, all of it. I don't care. You'll never see me again, I promise.
My arm
put it on especially for you.
Don't take it off later. I want to give it a good rumple.
What were you thinking?
Another city, a toy maker.
again.
The librarian does this thing with her whip where you're on all fours
It's
and...
got private rooms, music, and all-round pleasant folks.
Such a prude. Money is a luxury.
Let's go to Calm's Gums. She has the most fabulous scent.
That watcher sent him flying.
This does.
Did you see how
Calms Garms.
must have been 10 legs?
He told me the armor was a dog.
Hello? Hi! Over here! Me! How else was I supposed to... Put him up! Put him up! Yay! You spoke to me! Nobody ever talks to me! Your fist, silly. I'm trying something out. My name's Narber, adventurer to be, soon to be the best adventurer anyone's ever seen. As soon as I figure out what kind of adventurer I want to be. What do you think? Can I be a fighter? Right you are. I'll just find something to punch, I guess. It won't hurt, will it? No, surely not.
For another client, maybe.
Oh, stranger. Thanks for stopping by Calm's Garms. I'm Calm. Well, Carmen. What can I do you for? Sounds good. Get you something a bit fresher than your current outfit.
We got. Dude, where's like the sword? What the fuck happened to this shit? This is Lord, fuck dude, what? So now the sword's down here.
Remember, Calm's Garms, here for all your fashion needs.
See how far that watcher threw me?
For another client, maybe.
I can't believe you tried to climb up one, you madman! Actually, Gortash invented...
No, he merely offered patronage. The Gondians built
Darling,
the steel
it's
watch.
very leather-like.
Yes, but they were Gortash.
and Gortash invented them.
It's perfect.
And the price, they crush everyone.
You told me the armor was a bargain.
It was. With good armor, simply astonishing feat of genius.
Tools all shape. Need to get something done? Got plenty of tools for that.
Don't touch me.
Whatever you're working on, hope that fixes it for you.
All right, what now?
Madman.
It's 'cause we already helped you fix it.
Something's not right about those skin.
You're not being paid to like it. If I were you, I'd focus on me own.
Let's have a look.
Dude was already dead.
You seek Archduke Gortash, do you not? Take the door to the right of the throne, just through the grating. But know this. If you do not possess the stone he requires, he will cleave you straight through. I trust nothing more needs to be said on the matter. My lord requires a clear path to his magnificent future. We cut away the troubles and Bramble. Do not face him without Oren's netherstone in hand, or you will meet the same end.
on the roof.
Tempers are rising. It's clear not everything you find is at your disposal. Tempers are rising.
Breathe deep and move.
Please, sir. We have children. We need to be able to provide for them. Not my concern.
Not like we can even turn around and leave now.
Those walls might slow the army of the Absolute down, but they'll get through them sooner or later.
The citizen is unconscious and won't be waking up anytime soon.
Better not be cursed.
Hey, cut it out, will you? I've got deliveries to manage.
Well, well, if it isn't the city's next celebrity. You star in our next edition's top story. Well, you should have considered that before disgracing yourself in public. Trafficking refugees into our city is hardly a good look. Especially when so many are absolutists and murderers. The truth will be out with tomorrow's broadsheet. People will spit in your face. Your very presence will be bad for business. You'll be a pariah, an outcast, as you should be. And then, we can only hope the fists do their duty and escort you to the gallows. Your days of scumming up this good city streets will be over. I would never reveal my sources, and certainly not to the likes of you. Besides, you're too late. The headlines are loaded into the print works already. Tomorrow, you will feel the power of free speech. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. Now, guards! I believe our distinguished guest was just leaving. Would you care to escort them out?
People don't always know their own minds. Gotta keep them safe. That's all.
$160. Okay, let's.
Baldur's Mouth.
Between you and me, I don't even read them. Quality of reporting is arse these days.
No. No, a bit too familiar. Mr. Needle.
The hostel's up that way. You won't find better around here, unless you can pay for it. Once the washing is finished, you can pay all you like.
They're publishing, I mean.
Not a lot, unless you want to set fire to the Baldur's Mouth Gazette headquarters.
I'm still right here, you know.
We do know, thank you. We just don't care.
Baldur's Gate's never going to be safe with the Absolute out there. Why would the Gazette lie to an entire city?
The paper says we're safe here, but we're not. We may as well be outside the walls with the Absolute.
No point reading the Gazette. You might as well be reading the walls of a tavern privy.
Tries to jam down our throats.
If you ask me, I don't think Gortash even deserves to be called a lord.
I'll never understand people who don't want to be famous. The more the people like you, the more you can get away with. Perhaps you should start your own opinion column.
God's damned hypocrites! The Blade of Frontiers, all pomp and empty oaths. The Sword Coast's most dashing fraud. You are either a fool for trusting him, or a wretch for conspiring with him. Doesn't matter which. Lady Mizora told me everything. How Will slaughtered his own father. How he craves his power. how he means to make the city bow to him and him alone. This city holds no place for you, or for Ravengard's treacherous spawn. At ease. By the living gods, I believe you. What darkness has fallen upon us? There's something you must know. I should have told Will sooner, but I'd hoped somehow Ravengard would return to us. He knew about the Absolute. I thought little of it at first, but he realized the danger before anyone else did. He understood that if the cult were successful in raising an army, Baldur's Gate would be doomed. Before the Absolutists subducted him, he told me that should he fall, I should seek Will out and give him a message. Will was schooled in the ways of the great champions. He is to use those lessons to wake the worm sleeping beneath Baldur's Gate. The worm is oath-bound to answer the call and come to the city's aid. A bronze dragon, yes. He sleeps beneath us even now, awaiting a hero to rouse him. The worm goes by many names. Ansur, the waiting storm, the heart of the gate. He promised Balduran he'd protect the city if ever its existence was threatened. But just the once. The city has faced countless threats. But Ravengard knew it could not survive the absolute slaughter. With him gone and the city near ruin, the worm's awakening now falls to you and Will. The Duke gave me this. The legend of Ansur. An ancient epic, ill-remembered, dismissed as a mere tale. Let it set the path before you. Or do not, and see Baldur's Gate burn to ash. Thank you. In darkness, I see your light. I should go. I know of still others that might help us when the battle horns call. Unleash the worm. Let its tempest swallow the Absolute and its allies, and may they be driven forever from the coast.
No. No, it's too familiar. Mr. Neal. Streets are safer than they...
There you go, fucking sleep, kitty.
Are they going to arrest us?
Let's rehearse this one more time. Pretend I'm a fist and tell me what you were doing in the house.
It won't happen, I swear.
Your fishiness,
I can't really glaze that
down
big
the
for
door.
you.
burst in my heart.
Your mind tingles as it opens to Will. He learns of Mazora's meddling and Floric's tale of the dragon Ansur.
Curse that rotten devil and her forked tongue, trying to set Floric against me. She's a damnable inferno of chaos. What matters now is that Floric saw sense, and we know our path forward. We'll finish what my father couldn't. We'll awaken Ansur, the heart of the gate. O Baldurin, founder due veneration. His guardian dragon Ansur, tremendous in worth. A savior below, our eternal elation. Consider this. To Wormway 'neath prison's deepest level. That must mean Worm's rock prison. That's where we'll find the entrance to this Wormway. Then this. With the shock of a true hero's spark flickers, the torches are light, and Worm's eyes shall awake a glitter. To open the way, we'll need to spark torches. This dragon Ansur was Baldurin's ally. We'd be fools to let him sleep while the Dead Three's chosen raised the city. I met her twice. The first time, I was a boy of 7 or 8, at a banquet in the Flaming Fist's honor. One look and I was smitten. Chestnut hair that flowed behind her like willow fronds, as she floated from one room to the next as if carried by clouds. The second time, Stelmane was different. Even with the aid of a cane, each step she took was a struggle. Every word she spoke took great physical effort. A stroke victim, I asked Father later. No, he said. A stroke survivor.
You sense uncertainty in Will's voice. He questions his father's explanation.
Something's always gnawed at me. At the banquet, Stelmane didn't seem to look at us, but through us. But that second time, her gaze never left me. It was steel, sharp and unyielding. It could just be my imagination, but I always felt that it was more than a stroke that had changed her. What, though? I couldn't say. Not a tragedy, a calculated cruelty. Think about it. My father was Tadpole. Stelmane is dead. The people are frightened and the council's in disarray. To exert control, he must first sow chaos. A tyrant's strategy, as Father would say. These murders aren't random acts. Someone powerful is guiding the killer's hand, and the city is made weaker for it.